It had been several days of them going deeper into the forest. Is it just me? Or does it feel like we could go back to the guild and let them know that this area is pretty safe? Bill asked the group. Claire giggled at the question made by Bill. Hannah had a similar look of amusement at her brother having asked the question again, which he'd bring up every couple of hours. It's not like you're tired, Tommy said to Bill, annoyance building in his voice. There isn't a set period of time that this is going to take, so until we are sure, we can't go back. Due to the lack of encounters with monsters, Bill and Tommy were getting on the others' nerves. Compared to the brothers, everyone else was just taking Bill's question as being something he did when he was bored. Up ahead, the ground disappeared. Claire's eyes lighted up at the difference in scenery. The forest was fairly flat the entire time they were exploring. It was nice to see some change. It wasn't long before they were looking down a small cliff. So, that's what I was smelling, Hannah said. Claire looked at Hannah. What do you mean? I didn't smell anything. She was talking about the river, Ashford said. She pointed at a wide river past the cliff. Pointing to her nose, Frida said, after a while, you'll start noticing it too. Water tends to have a distinct smell to it, which is what Hannah was smelling. Taking a deep sniff, Claire didn't smell anything aside from the sweet smell of the sap on the trees and the dead leaves on top of the moss. I guess we're going to need to get down if we're going to continue, Tommy said. Crouching, Abby reached to touch the rock on the outside the cliff. How's it looking? Tommy asked. Without a word, Abby turned to face them and slowly lowered herself. The rocks are good for climbing, so I don't think we need to find an alternate route. It's also too high for us to jump down. I guess that means we'll be climbing down. Tommy grinned as he turned his head to look at the others. What do the two of you think? He asked Astrid and Frida. Both of them followed after Abby's direction. Astrid looked at Tommy. It's not as steep as it looks. Even if you were to fall, the rocks would slow the rate you descend. Knowing that they'll be going down the cliff, Claire felt a little nervous, but after hearing Astrid's comment, it didn't feel as severe. Take your time, Tommy said to Claire and Hannah. I wish you'd show such level of concern for me, Bill grumbled as he lowered himself and began making his way down the cliff. Hearing Bill's comment, Tommy slowly shook his head in disbelief. What am I going to do with that guy? He sighed. Hannah moved to the edge and looked down. Aside from Tommy, who was still standing with them, everyone else was calmly making their way down. I think it's a good idea if we move to someplace where, if we were to fall, we wouldn't knock someone off on our way down, he suggested to Claire. That's a good idea, Claire nodded. They moved along the edge until they reached an area that wasn't being used. Claire crouched and slowly lowered herself down. She tried to not think about how there wasn't anything below her. With her feet, Claire tried to search for any footholds she could use. Compared to climbing up a cliff, it was significantly harder to go in the reverse order. Getting a feel of the rocks was important. Once her feet touched rocks that she could rest on, Claire breathed an air of relief. slowly lowering her body and trying to imagine herself flat against the wall. Claire grabbed a handhold she noticed. Next to Claire, Hannah was going through the same process. "There's a good spot for your feet just below you," Claire offered advice to a friend. Once Hannah's foot touched the rock, she looked at Claire. "Thanks for the assist," she grinned.